Street seeks permission to open Kilwin's Chocolate Store. Subject premise is located in D3 Business Zone. Good evening, sir. Please, do you have the cards for Carol? Can you please give them to her? State your name and address for the record and tell us all about your application.
Okay, my name is John Murray. I live at 1260 Hawthorne Drive West in Wausau. We filed this application to open a Kilwin's chocolate store here in Patchogue. This is the former site of Rose's Jewelers. I currently own a store in Babylon Village for a little over 3 years now. And I have a layout which is in the kit, kind of with an overview of what we're looking to do here. I've been walking them through that. It's probably something you're not used to seeing. There's some things on here that probably nobody else has presented. So I'm sure there's going to be questions, and I'm here to answer whatever ones you guys have.
Yeah, for the record, this is a franchise, right?
Yes.
And also for the record, last night the village board did approve change in the law as it relates to franchise establishments in the D3 business zone, which would make this application viable. Until that law was changed, we couldn't act on this application. And if in fact that law was defeated, we couldn't act on this application. But as it stands now, I've been advised that the mayor has signed off on that piece of legislation and registered with the village clerk, and it is law in the village of Patchogue. So we can proceed with your application.
So, Mr. Chairman, there's no longer a need for a special permit for instances like this?
No.
That's correct.
No? So, tell us a little bit about the business.
Okay, so the background of Kilwins, it started in northern Michigan in 1947. It actually started as a bakery, and Mrs. Kilwin started dipping things in chocolate, and eventually the chocolate overtook the baked goods in terms of sales. And like any good business people, they dispensed with the baked goods and went full-time chocolate, because that's where they believe the future lies. So they owned the company until the 80s, when Don McCarty purchased it and kind of led for the expansion. A lot of Long Islanders know of us from South Florida and the Carolinas, where we have a lot of stores. In 2012, I opened the first one in New York State, in Devlin. Our specialties are our fudge, which we manufacture in the window on site. We also make caramel apples, again, another thing we manufacture on site in the window. I have the burns to prove it. We also dip a lot of our chocolate dipped items on site in the window. We really put on quite a spectacle. We also handcraft all of our brittles, caramel corns. We press our own waffle cones. And I describe our ice cream pretty much as a religion, which people will drive sometimes upwards of 40 minutes to an hour for. I like to think we build beautiful, tasteful stores with great products. And my hope is that's what we'll do at 74 East Main Street.
So it sounds fattening, right? For want of a better word.
Yeah, trust me.
So all of the chocolate work is done on site. The ice cream is also made on site?
The ice cream is not. The ice cream is made in our production facility in Michigan. The company originally did make it on site, but what happened was it became too popular, so now it has to be made in a bigger facility.
You mentioned things being done in the window, and I'm sort of looking at the site plan. I know there's window displays in that Rose Jewelers building. What can we expect to see actually in those windows? Is actually any work being done that's going to be visible from the street?
Well, maybe I should explain that in terms of the layout drawing you folks have. If you kind of orientate it, this long corridor thing is in the back. You'll see in the bottom right corner, you'll see a circular thing with 3 round circles. That's our gas-fired kettle, and there's a rectangular piece next to that, which is our marble table. So typically what we do when we're manufacturing our fudge is we'll be boiling it on the kettle. We then pour it out onto that marble table to cool it, and then someone will physically be paddling it as people walk by. I tell people it's not something you see every day. It's quite a spectacle. They're also in that same little, that's kind of like our kitchen area, you can see that alcove there. There's 3 square items, those are our chocolate tempering machines. So that's where we'd be dipping the Oreos, the pretzels, the graham crackers, the Twinkies, things of that nature. And then actually, the left side of the drawing would be the counter service area. In the very front, opposite the kettle section, is the waffle cone bakers, and the aroma from that is absolutely incredible. And then we have our fudge display cases, the next 2 sections, our chocolate case, and kind of L-ing it out in the back is our ice cream serving area. And then you have a little area here to the extreme right for, we put 6 seats, 6 tables, about 12 seats.
How much modification to the existing floor plan do you guys have to make this work for you?
Well, right now, pretty much it's a big rectangle. Rob and Gerard are actually going to be subdividing it front and back. So some of that work is on them, and we're kind of waiting to get through this phase to file the full architecturals. But we're going to be doing a floor, drop ceiling, probably some new sheetrock. The other thing is the existing facade kind of doesn't work for us because it's kind of designed for displaying necklaces, and we really kind of need for our show floor-to-ceiling windows. So I know obviously that has to go for architectural review board and all that. And I've included in the packet, you folks have a picture of my current store in Babylon, which has the red stripe awning. And then there's a more artistic one, which I'd kind of like my store here to look, reflecting the artistic nature of the village and the theater across the street. But that's a conversation for a later day.
Yes, it is. So the front of the building was just redone, so are you saying you'll be cutting into the front of that and then changing the window structure, I guess?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you buy the building or you rented?
It's not for sale. I'm recommending, we have a proposed 15-year lease.
Okay.
I have a question about the ice cream delivery.
Sure.
You will be delivering it to the back, and when will that be?
Yeah, I mean, we always want to be a great neighbor.
You want to knock off the truck?
Unfortunately, we won't be able to deliver it to your home address. But, the truck varies on the season. The delivery schedule changes. In January, they come once every 3 weeks. But we try to coordinate it that we don't adversely affect any of our neighbors or the community. My hope is there is a very ample parking lot back there, so.
It's just a busy parking lot during the day, and it's a tight turn, so I didn't know whether you were expecting deliveries, early in the morning or later at night when maybe the library's not open.
Yeah.
I think there's a hair salon there, and
Yeah, our company as a whole logistically tries to be a great neighbor to the communities we're in. And in Babylon, it really hasn't been an issue. Our drivers do have motorized pallet jacks, so if they have to park the truck literally a block away, they just drag it and, wheel it right in. Yeah,
that's a very active little alcove in the parking that's.
yeah, I've seen that.
So since they're technically cooking on site, does it have to go to the health department for approval now?
They do, because Terry from the yes, they
What-
some have to do a change if he's, for the sewer.
What's your plan?
My plan as far as the build, or
Build, opening, etc.
my plan is to build an exceptionally beautiful store that can be a meeting place for the community, for the little girls that come out of the recitals on Sunday afternoon, for the families, the people walking down the block. I want to act as quickly as possible. I've done this once before, so it's not new to me.
Time-wise?
A lot of it's out of my hands, but as we mentioned, the health department, ideally I'd like to be open 2 months ago, but probably September, October would have to be a reasonable time frame.
Have you made applications to the Board of Health yet?
No, like I said, we've been holding that off because of the complications.
They're probably going to require a grease trap too, and the building is not set up for it. Right. Probably gas.
We had that discussion, he's going to send it to Judy.
Yeah. Okay.
Whatever is required, we'll comply with.
There's gotta be gas next.
Yeah, it's
Chinese
probably.
place. Yeah, it's not far.
It's right there.
Yeah.
It's in the street.
Yeah.
Building actually does currently have gas.
Dark,
Does?
just dark ones
Yeah,
upstairs.
Rodney Gerard did the conversion recently, I believe.
Great.
What kind of hours do you have now when you close that?
So currently in Babylon, during the week and Sunday, we're open until 10, and Friday and Saturday, 11. That would be the latest we're open because this is our peak season. We do scale the hours back because on a Tuesday in January at 8 o'clock, nobody really wants an ice cream. So in the winter, we'll close the earliest, we close at 8 p.m. We used to open at 11 in Babylon, but people wanted more, so now we open at 10.
What kind of staffing do you ordinarily have, or do you anticipate for this site?
Well, based on my metrics and my year's worth of research here in Patchogue, I expect it to be busier in my store in Babylon. That's my hope. So I'm anticipating employing more people. So right now, at our peak, we have 12 in Babylon. I mentioned last night I project about maybe 16 peak season here. And I typically hire locals, typically high school and college age, with some senior people probably being a little older.
How many would you have on like a shift, let's say during the day? Would you have 12 to 16, or you would have less?
Well, I have to have a big staff so that if someone's on vacation, whatever. I would say I'm adjusting currently in Babylon because we're very busy, but our peak shift will be 6 people.
Okay.
I'm lucky because a lot of them ride their bikes to my store.
Okay. And what about Sundays?
Sundays, we are open Sunday. It's a very busy day for us. Families are typically out and about.
Same
Yeah.
thing, I'm sorry, 10 to...
10 to, right now we're 10 to 10 on Sunday.
Obviously, you've done your demographic work, and you've taken a good look at those. 2 questions. What attracted you to Patchogue, A? What was the main decision maker for you? If you want to disclose that. If you don't, it's not required, but just a thought.
Sure.
And 2, because it helps us learn. And 2, how do you see yourself positioned against very good yogurt, whatever it is, right up the street? And then I'm sure you're also aware of the fact that, and I believe they're still on track, I don't know unless they've changed their mind, there's a place on West Main Street that's that nitrogen frozen. Have you, any action been on it?
They're waiting to get a big permit.
So there are 2 other establishments within walking distance of the store, certainly. That are also going to be in and there's also a candy store right up the road
Yeah.
from you. So what's the differentiators between you and them? And not that your store has any bearing,
Yeah.
or not that any approval process has anything to do with the fact that you're in the same business as them, because competition is great for everybody. But I'm just kind of interested as to how you see yourself positioned in that marketplace.
Okay, that's a great question. Should I start with the first one or the second?
Sure, start with the first one.
I'm sure these other people want to speak, so I can go on for an hour and a half about Patchogue.
Well, give us the Reader's Digest.
Yeah. So, like I said, we've been open in Babylon for 3 years now. The first year, my wife and I were just trying to kind of get our feet under us and learn because we had no previous experience. From year 2 forward, our travels have taken us literally from Montauk Point, Fort Washington, Oyster Bay to Long Beach. And we've looked at what's going on in towns. I said last night I happily spoke with dozens of bartenders, and I've met with talked to chamber people, business people. Our company is very selective where we go. I don't know how familiar you guys are, but we're not like some other companies will pop out anywhere. We're just 10 feet. Patchogue, everything else pales in comparison pretty much to the innovative minds and what the government has going here for the chamber. I mean, if it's any sense of things, we had a packed house in here last night for our conversation, and it shows that people care. There's certain villages nobody cares, but it's really, last year we've my wife and I fallen in love with Patchogue. There's a real estate sign in the front of our house in Montauk because we want to move out this way. The people I've met are tremendous. We love the art scene. I can tell you that every other chamber of commerce I speak to looks at Patchogue as like, what are they doing? Because this is where the leaders and the visionaries are. I made a lot of friends here, one of which is sitting back there. But it's just incredible here. We didn't come to this decision lightly, and this is now the third set of landlords I've talked to, one of which I spoke to for 6 months. The other one, site I looked at was 3 feet too narrow. So, believe me, it's not lost on me the historic nature of the store that we're moving into, so I want to build something nice there. And then part 2 of that is, the other businesses. I believe that there's business for everybody. In Babylon, there is a local chocolate candy store which has been there 30 years. I routinely, we don't sell everything, some people think we do, but I'll send people to her all the time. Who, they specialize in something we don't have. And then we have a lot of products that they don't offer. So, as you said, I've done a lot of research. I can tell you per pound what they're charging, and I know everything they sell. So, there's things that we offer they don't, and vice versa. And then the other thing too is, I can't stress this enough, we are a specialty retailer. We're somewhere, as you can see in the pack, we make gift baskets. We're somewhere that college kid gets off the train and grabs his mom a box of chocolate. We serve a need for giving gifts, and really nice classy gifts too. So those other locations don't really do gifts, they're more on site. So I think we will contribute to the overall economy here. I said last night when we were on News 12 for Valentine's Day, we drew people to Babylon from Valley Stream and Glen Cove, and people always walk into my store and go, wow, I didn't realize how nice this town is. So when I walk in, I put my tourism hat on and I'm like, check these other places out because they're awesome too. So, it's a culmination of a 2-year odyssey, and I'm hoping it's over. So,
Okay,
does that answer the question?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any other questions for the applicant? There will be a rear door, right? You're going to have a rear entrance for the patrons?
Yes, it's going to be, as you can see there, a corridor into that back
But that
shared
will be
lobby.
for
That door's
patrons?
still there, right?
Yeah, it'll be ADA, patron.
Okay, and the second question then, will you have the capability within the facility to have little parties for little kids? No.
That's my hope, yeah.
Okay.
We routinely host Boy and Girl Scout
There could be
groups.
big parties for little kids.
Parties for big kids.
Or for big kids.
Little parties for big kids.
I'm very excited about this on many levels because this proposed store is more than double my Babylon store. So the seating, being able to offer more things retail-wise, and parties and hosting groups would hopefully fit into that.
Any other questions from the board?
Just a question or two about the little kitchen areas you have in the front. It looks like it's walled off. Is that a wall to ceiling, or what would be the
It's
design of that?
typically it's a half wall. It's that's where the health department gets very strict, restricting custom patron access. So in Babylon we have a half wall, and there's like a plexi sneeze guard all the way around it, so nothing gets contaminated.
So it'll have a glass wall, but would be closed off to the customers?
Yeah, we have like almost a door like this. It's not in the shop that prevents people from going back there. And somehow the little kids run around the back anyway, so.
You did say you have some baked goods on site too?
No big goods. Kilwin started as a bakery.
Okay,
I won't even have the equipment to manufacture
Okay.
baked goods.
all right. I don't have any questions. Okay. Does anyone in the audience wish to speak for or against the application? Mr. Bojack, please come back up and take the microphone. You can have a seat.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Mr. Bojack.
Good evening, everybody. John Bojack, Knoxville Street. I have 2 questions, and then I want to talk about the franchise or nature of this application per se. It sounds as if the Rose Jeweler space is being subdivided, so this is not the whole of that space, is that correct? The owner has other purposes in mind for that space? Because last night I thought it was all of the former Rose Jeweler space.
It looks like it's all,
All of it?
It's all.
no, it's not, it's
Where
being
they're
subdivided.
subdividing it?
Should I?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go up and address it. Don't worry about it. John, just put that in.
The store as it is now is approximately 3,400 square feet. That's way too big for our purposes, so they're gonna put a wall splitting the front and the rear, and we'd be in the front.
Okay.
Okay, so this wall this wall right here will be the wall that they're talking about. And you'll still have a corridor to go to the rear to have a rear entrance.
Yes.
So they could essentially take this piece in the back and use that for either another store if they wanted to put it out the back or whatever. So yeah, the answer is yes, it's being subdivided.
Okay, thank you. So, parking needs don't need to be assessed because the parking is presumed to exist, correct? All right, so.
Not that it's an abundance, but you know, that's a story for another day.
Correct, right. So I just want to, actually, this is just, I'm not totally opposed to this. If I were on the Board of Trustees, I would not have voted last night in favor, but there's a lot of reasons for doing so, but the law has changed, so it is, that's the way it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Right.
Last night, though, I think there were a lot of people there, that's quite true, and I think there's a lot of sentiment in the community about this application is a precedent. Everyone's going to be looking at it for years to come. What comes afterwards is going to mean a lot to the village. One of the concerns I heard again and again and again from people was negative impact on employment. So it's good to hear that the owner here is going to shop, hire locally. And I think that's a good promise to make, because if his business comes in and it's really connected to the community, that's a really powerful argument to be made for these kinds of stores. But I would like to hear a promise, not that this is the local hiring is not North Patchogue, not Medford, not East Patchogue, but the people who are hired get the jobs from the village of Patchogue, where we exist. I don't think anyone can demand that of him, I don't think he's compelled to do that, but I think that would be a good way of making a real connection to the community for the future. And if that happens, when other stores come in, maybe we can make the same expectation for them as well. That's my wish.
When the applicant comes back up, I'll ask him for good faith effort, which is all we can compel him to do, as you know. Fair enough. And your point is well taken.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else wish to speak for or against the application?
I just have a question.
Come on up and make yourself at home.
This is just my
I
own
want you on camera, so
curiosity.
make sure you come up.
I have a question for Mr. Murray. It's my own
Sure,
curiosity.
sir, could you state your name and address for the record, please?
Yeah, Josephine Miller, 276 West Avenue.
Yes, ma'am.
You purchased franchise. So does the franchise allow you to open as many stores as you want, or just, in other words, do you have to purchase an additional franchise to open the second store?
Well, hang on. Do you have any other question? And I'm going to have him come back up and he can answer your
That's
question.
the question. That's my own curiosity.
Okay, well, do you have any other questions?
No. that's-
Okay, you can have a seat. I'm going to have him come back up anyway, unless there's somebody else that wishes to speak for or against the application. Okay, sir, please come back up to the microphone. Okay, so since it's the freshest, you can answer Mrs. Miller's question first.
Sure. So yes, like, any other business expanding, like Parabel just moved to Riverhead, this is very similar to that. I'm incurring double the debt and double the risk, and yeah, I mean, it's a very serious thing. I have to rebuild a store, I have to furnish and equip that store, and yeah, I'm treating this with the utmost seriousness.
But did you have to purchase an additional franchise?
There are preferable terms as a thank you to an existing franchisee. I'm not at liberty to disclose those, but
Right, no.
there's
Okay.
a
That's not
financial
our-
commitment.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, now, as far as Mr. Bojack's question, I'm assuming that you would make a good faith effort to try to hire people within the village of Patchogue. Is that a reasonable expectation?
That's exactly what my plan was. In Babylon, 98% of my employees come within a 25 quarter of a mile square radius of my store. Not only is it great for the community, but also makes great business sense. The kid can't be late because they're coming from an hour away. So, yeah, that's my hope.
So what Mr. Bojack will furnish you with is a map of Village Patchogue. And then you can find your applicants from within the bounds of that map, seriously, so that we can try to keep and create the opportunities for our residents, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any other questions for the applicant before we cut them loose? Did you have a question, Ms. Kelly?
No.
Oh, okay. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. No problem, guys.
Okay, there being no one else coming forward, I'll entertain a motion from
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve this application subject to Board of Health, ZBA, for change of use, and ARB.
Do we need ZBA? Do we need ZBA?
They don't change the use.
They don't need it? No, no.
Change of
Change
use
of
for-
use, yeah.
for within the sewer district, it's change of use.
They need sewer, change of use for dry and wet use, health department, architectural people and health department.
So move that? Okay, can I get a second on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Welcome to the Village of Patchogue. We're very happy to have you here.
Thank you, guys.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. You can go now.
Thanks, guys.
That's my great fudge.
Believe me, you guys are gonna have enough budget before you know it. Tell me, put it